So how do you calculate credit card interest? That is a fantastic question. And our good friends over at the big banks, they've made this as complex as possible. And, their goal with that, of course, is the more complex they make it, the more complex the formula, the more complex the equation, the more complex the algorithm, less people will actually take the time to try to figure it out, which of course is what the banks want, so that way they can charge you more in interest. Because here at the Simple Dollar, we believe that personal finance doesn't need to be complicated, and we are here to help. So we're going to break this down for you in today's video. And if you find this video helpful, make sure to give this video a like and make sure to give it a comment as well. Jump into the discussion. And of course, there is a fully detailed article on this exact topic on our website over at thesimpledollar.com. So if you'd like to check that article out, I'll leave a link in the description. Now today we want to break down and really just walk you through how to calculate credit card interest. And it all starts by, first kind of breaking down how credit card interest works. Now, as you utilize your credit card, if you have a balance, so let's say you have a $10,000 limit credit card, and you use that card, to pay for your transactions, you're paying for your groceries, paying some of your bills with that line of credit. And at the end of the month, you have a balance remaining on that line of credit. So let's say you just made a payment, maybe just a minimum payment on that, but you didn't pay off the balance in full at the end of your billing cycle. If that's the case and you have a balance, the credit card company is then going to charge you interest. And that's going to be based on a couple of different factors that we'll break down here in a minute. But that's kind of how the ball starts. When you carry a balance on your credit card from one month to the next, and you're starting that next month with a balance, you will see that balance with an interest charge from the previous month. And so how do they calculate that interest charge? Now, before we can really break down how they calculate credit card interest, there's a couple of terms that you need to know about first. So that way you know all the different players that are involved here. So the first term is APR, and that stands for your annual percentage rate. Now, this is the interest rate that your credit card is charging you. So let's say your credit card has a 9.99% interest rate, that would be your annual percentage rate. So if you carried, let's say, a $10,000 balance over the course of a full year, you would pay 9.99% on that balance over the course of a year. You'd end up paying about $990 worth of interest on that kind of a balance carried for a full year based on that APR. Okay, so annual percentage rate, that's one of the variables. The second term that you need to know is DPR, and that stands for daily periodic rate. And DPR is derived from taking your APR, so your annual percentage rate, whatever that interest rate is as a percentage, and dividing it by your bank's calendar year. Now, some banks will divide that number by 360. Some banks will divide it by 365. So you'd have to do some due diligence on your particular bank to know if it's 360 or 365. For any examples in this video, we'll use a calendar year of 365 days. And so to determine the DPR, you would take your annual percentage rate, or your APR, and divide it by 365. And that's going to give you a daily periodic rate. And that's the amount of interest they're going to charge you based on your balance every single day in interest. So for example, let's say the APR on your credit card is 12.25%, and your bank considers a year to be 365 days. You'd divide the 12.25% by 365 to get a DPR of 0.03. And this is the amount that is applied daily to your unpaid credit card balance. And it compounds over time if the balance remains unpaid. And this is why it is so important to maintain low credit card balances, because you can rack up a lot of interest charges here, and this will make the debt take quite a bit longer to pay off. When interest is added to your balance, if you maintain a balance moving into the next month, you're now paying interest again on interest that was added to your account last month. And that is what we call compound interest. And it's been said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. So very, very powerful for the banks, but for us as consumers, it's a very, very expensive way to try to get out of debt. It's almost like you're fighting an uphill battle every single month. Now there's one more variable to add to the mix, and this one is your average daily balance. And sometimes this is going to be shown to you right on your credit card statement. However, if not, it's very easy to calculate. And what you do is you simply would add up each and every day of the month, what your balance was, and then you would divide it by the number of days in the billing cycle. So let's say, again, you had a $1,000 balance for the first 15 days of the month, and then you had to use the card, so you went up to a $2,000 balance for the last 15 days of the month. So the first 15 days would add up. You add up each day's average daily balance of 1,000. So 1,000 times 15 would be 15,000. And then for the remaining 15 days, if you had a $2,000 average daily balance, okay, that would be 30,000. So you would add the 30,000 plus the 15,000 to give you $45,000. You would then take that number and divide it by the number of days in the billing cycle, which is 30. And from there you would have an average daily balance for the month of $1,500. So that is how you determine average daily balance. And now that we know all of these different variables, it's easy to plug them into a simple equation here to determine what is going to be your interest charge for the month. And what you would do is you take that average daily balance, whatever that number is, times your daily periodic rate. That is going to give you your interest charge for that particular month. So using a hypothetical average daily balance of, let's say, $245, if you multiplied that by our hypothetical DPR of 0.03, we would get a number 0.0735. We would then take that number, 0.0735, then we would multiply that number by the number of days in the billing cycle. And again, let's assume 30 for our example, and that would give us a monthly interest charge of $2.20. Now, if you were to carry this $245 balance over the course of 12 months, you would end up with an interest charge annually of about $26.40. However, of course, if you were carrying a balance and you weren't paying it off in full each month and interest is being added to this balance, it certainly wouldn't stay at that $245. It would be, the balance would be more every single month, so you'd end up actually paying more interest than that. But again, that's why it's so important to pay off your credit card balances in full every single month if possible. Now, when it comes to the amount of interest that banks are able to charge, are there limits to what banks can charge you in interest? And unfortunately, the answer to that is no. There is no law on the books or anything that states that there's any type of a cap on how much interest can be charged to you on your particular account. Now, there are some special exceptions. There's a few military exceptions that are available for that in certain situations. But in general, there are no limits to what the bank can charge you in interest. So again, it's very, very important to understand, or at least have a good, solid general understanding of how this works. And again, here at thesimpledollar.com, we believe that personal finance doesn't have to be complicated. And we're here to help. We've got your back. And so if you need more support and more training to help you on your personal finance journey, make sure to visit us over at thesimpledollar.com. And there'll be plenty of resource links in the description of this video that you can take action on to continue on your personal finance journey. A couple of final notes when it comes to your interest rate on your credit cards. Understand that everything is negotiable. And there's other training on our website and again here on our YouTube channel where we walk you through step by step how to get the bank to reduce your interest rate. If you can get the bank to reduce your interest rate, they will charge you less interest whenever you're carrying a balance, which allows you to pay that debt down quicker and get more of your money knocking down principal versus just paying interest. So again, we'll link to that below this video. And also focus on building your credit. If you're unable to pay off your credit card bills in full and you're going to be subject to paying some interest, the best thing you can do is focus on strengthening your credit. Those that have a higher credit score are going to have lower interest rates when it comes to their credit cards, when it comes to your loans, anything of that nature. The less risky you are to lenders, the lower the interest they're gonna have to charge you to lend to you or to make a line of credit available to you. That's one great way to reduce these interest charges that are gonna be coming onto your account. But I gotta tell you guys, the best way to reduce the credit card interest that you're paying is to simply pay off your credit card balance in full every single month. You know, credit cards typically have very high interest. And if we're maintaining a balance on those credit cards, that interest will make that debt really take a lot longer than it needs to pay down. You know, focus on maintaining your budget, and whenever you do use your credit cards, because you definitely want to use credit, but you don't want to get into that situation where you're not able to pay off that balance in full every single month, where you're going to be subject to these type of interest charges. So focus on paying off those credit cards in full every single month. So hopefully you guys found value in this training and in this discussion. If you did, make sure to give this video a like and give it a comment below. And as well, make sure to join us over on thesimpledollar.com. There's a ton of great training and tips on personal finance and ways to help you master your money. And as well, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Click the bell so that way you get notified on any and all of our future content. We are going to be creating a ton of valuable training to help you on your journey to financial independence. Again, here at The Simple Dollar, we've got your back. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.